Greetings YouTube, and welcome to the We All Juggle Knives channel. I'm out here very early morning doing a stump top review of this White River Knives Caper knife. This beautiful and functional knife, as you can see, S30V steel, the blade length 3 inches, the weight 3 ounces. It's got orange G10 handle scales. And that length and that weight really piqued my interest because this is the type of fixed blade. Oops. Sorry if there's background noise. This is not a tabletop. But the weight and the length of this blade make it a fixed blade that could be carried in place of an EDC folding knife. And that's of interest to a lot of people. You see full tank construction, white liners there. So I'm jimping on a thumb rest here. It's got a stone wash, but the stone wash is very highly polished. You can see it reflecting some trees there. So very nice, high polished stone wash. People always ask about initial sharpness. It does come with an extremely sharp edge. All right, so just you know, be careful. It's sold as a skinning knife, so you can imagine how sharp it is. But I'm going to review this as more of a... It can do a little bit of everything, let me put it this way. You certainly don't have to be a hunter to purchase this knife. Even if, let's say, you live in a suburb and you just have everyday cutting tasks, this is light and compact enough and ergonomic enough that this could be a do-everything knife in terms of everyday carry. It would also make a fine, small, just camp utility knife. I basically really like this knife because outdoors, as well as indoors, doesn't matter. Now, this is not going to be a testing review, okay, because keep in mind, it is a small knife. I'm not going to baton it through a log. I'm not going to hack something to shreds with it. It's meant for fine work. Very pointed tip. All right, that tip could dig out splinters. You could use it in a medical sense, almost like a scalpel. You could make shavings. It's real sharp, I mean. All right, now we just had a thunderstorm, so I don't know how good this wood is. You know, this is kind of soggy wood, but whatever. I'm not really trying to test this knife on this wood. It's just I like to, as I'm talking, you know, I like to have a little fun with a knife. But this knife, it's the category of this knife, the small EDC folding knife replacements, meaning a fixed blade that replaces a folder. I love this category of knife, and I will show you why. A little bit on why I absolutely love this category, this small fixed blades, you know, stuff between 2.5 inches to 3 3/4 inches in blade length. Look at the options that you get. Let's just go through these briefly. This is my user knife. Of these knives, this is the one I actually use. I've had it for years. It's a $15 knife from Finland. Has a bit of a patina there. All right, so that's a typical Scandi knife, very inexpensive. That's my user. Yeah, I know. It's cheap but effective. Izula 2, very popular knife. K-Bar Becker Necker BK11. The White River Knives Caper. All right, then over here, the Skyline fixed blade. Blackjack neck knife, discontinued but still available. One of the best little neck knives you can get. My Carter handle scales. This is Bark River Sharpling. It's based on the classic American design. The sharp finger has a convex edge. Beautiful knife. Look at the handle scales. Also discontinued, but a great knife in this category. Love this category because it's so freaking useful. You got enough edge to do some work, but not so much that it's going to be bulky, that it's going to be hard to carry, it's not going to draw undue attention. Just one of the most useful categories of fixed blade. Now here's the sheath the knife comes with. It is Kydex. There's the belt clip there, belt loop, I should say. It's a nice compact lightweight sheath. Alright, and it holds it in very securely, also silently. So I like the sheath. You know, it's not overly bulky, it's not a monstrosity. It's solid, it does its job. It's thick enough too. It's not like paper thin like a cheaper blade. So there's the sheath. Good job on the sheath. Now let's tackle the idea of replacing a folder with a small fixed blade. Is it really feasible? You know, the problems with folders are obvious. You got to worry about lockup. Is it developing blade play? If it's an emergency, you know, how fast can you deploy the blade? And of course, it's inherently going to be weaker than a full tang. For these reasons, there has been a resurgence in the community of interest in small fixed blades. But is it practical? Well, you are going to give up some length. Okay, no doubt about that. This is it's an Almar Eagle. This is a ZDP model. When you open it, you do get an advantage in terms of the folder. It's going to give you more blade length. All right, so there is a trade-off. There is a trade-off. That's why folders exist, because there are some benefits to carrying a folder. But you know, you be the judge. Is it worth it to have a little bit less blade length, but to just have the simplicity and strength of a full tang fixed blade? You know, it's a tough call. It's a tough call. You know, this type of knife, you could use it for cutting cordage, you could use it for opening packages, you could use it for skinning game, camp chores, kitchen chores, and really it's pointed enough that even, you know, if you wanted to carry a boot dagger, there's no real need to carry a boot dagger when a utility knife like this is pointed enough that it could do the piercing duties of a boot dagger too. So really, if you're talking about small tactical knives, as well as utility, indoor, outdoor, you know, survival, camping, suburbs, all that stuff, it's really a do-it-all design. That's why I, you know, have an obvious hard-on for this category of knife. All right, but I don't want to BS you. There are some concerns, especially with the price. I mean, this is a $170 knife. As I said, my user knife in the small category is a $15 knife. Why on earth would you spend that when you can get so much use from $15? Well, first of all, they have a much cheaper version of this called the Backpacker. Same steel, same blade shape, the only difference is the handle scales. It basically has a paracord handle. So I wouldn't blame you at all for buying the $90 version, because most people don't feel like spending an extra $80 for scales, you know, no matter how nice they look. So yeah, I mean, I'm not going to defend that markup for scales because it's indefensible. Why did I get this one? Because I wanted it, and I just saved up. You know, it took me a longer time to save up to pay that extra. All right, but back to the discussion. Most people already have a budget price Scandi blade. At least most of my subscribers already own a Mora knife. This is a Martini, but it's the same idea as a Mora. So I'm not saying you should replace your Mora, not at all. I'm just saying, how many Moras can you buy? It just makes sense. As the years go by, you're not going to buy like 50 Moras, right? You're going to start looking at, all right, what can I get if I go a little higher, go a little higher, go a little higher? So some people in their cutlery journey, they end up willing to spend more. All right, so I recommend cheap functional knives, but for those who do want to spend more and already have like 10 of these, you know, instead of buying your 11th Mora, it makes sense to save up and get into the higher end stuff. Now, as far as this knife, you know, I gotta say, first rate all the way. S30V, great steel. The edge on this was perfect. The acute tip is good for basically surgical work, whether skinning, first aid, or social situations. The ergonomics, simple but frickin' beautiful. Construction, first rate. Fit and finish, first rate. The stonewash with high polish, first rate. I mean, yeah, it is expensive, but you're getting every little detail is perfect. The sheath, first rate. You know, compact, light, does its job. You know, I know you're used to seeing 15-inch long forged machetes that pound through things on my channel, and this is not, it's not a hard use knife. It's a knife for fine tasks, but a knife like that is quite useful. And if you pair a small slicer like this up with a heavy chopper, you've got a deadly duo that can do most of what you need. I do like the knife. I don't really like the price that much. Who does, right? Who wants to pay a lot? I don't. I would have got this knife about 6 months earlier if the price had been cheaper. But I'm the type of person, if I want something, I will get it eventually. I might have to save up, I might put it lower on the list, but eventually I will get what I want. And you know, like I said, they have a $90 version with a paracord handle if you don't care about looks. Me, I care about function, but I also care about looks. I mean, who wants an ugly knife? You know what I'm saying? So the practical part of me likes the design, and the collector part of me likes that this is just an awesome looking blade. I mean, it's almost verging on collectible quality. It's just very nice. Alright, my friends, I hope you enjoyed this long, somewhat rambling discussion. You know, I like this kind of review. I mean, not every review has to be putting a knife in a vise and torquing it till it breaks. I mean, come on, man. I like this kind of review where I can just hang out with you, so to speak, and we can all just share our adult, you know, adult intelligent opinions on different design features. It's just cool and chill. You can see what this is, man. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this little discussion. This has been We All Juggle Knives. Stay tuned for many more videos. I'm out.